Welcome.
Guys, welcome.
Yeah, today we have a fun episode without Nikki. Not that we don't need her, we do need her, but we all have to take breaks. And yeah, she's been covering for me this past couple times, or at least last week. I was not able to make like most of these, so I'm glad that I can kind of do my part. But yeah, so this week, our live is with Matthew Simons. Is it Simons? Simmons?
Simmons.
Simmons, sorry,
Yeah. No,
Simmons.
you're fine. You're fine.
And we do at least have Courtney, so I'm not totally doing this by myself. Since yeah, me and Courtney are the less experienced talk show hosts. But here we're gonna wing it anyway. Yeah, so usually, we start with the same kind of basic question to everyone in the audience, or sorry, to every guest. Although we would like to have everyone in the audience eventually come on the show. But yeah, we ask, how did you get here being in industrial automation or in industrial whatever you do? Because everybody that comes on this show does somehow either work with automation or with manufacturing, whether it's the business side or the tech side. So yeah, can you kind of introduce yourself and how you got here?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you, ladies, for having me as a guest. It's an honor to be here. For everyone that's watching this, my name is Matthew Simmons. I am a senior controls engineer for the Herbalife innovation and manufacturing facility in North Carolina. And relatively new to the company. I'm going on 7 months, but I am a system integrator. That's my background. So to answer the first question, I graduated from college from Western Carolina University in North Carolina in 2010, and I stumbled into my career.
What was your
uh,
major?
so my major is electrical and computer engineering technology. So I've got a bachelor's of science in that, and definitely looking into some post-secondary education to further my career, but that not quite there yet. Um, so how I got into my career was actually through a former classmate.
Nice. Thank you,
Uh,
classmate.
yes, yes. It was 2011, and for those of us who can remember, that was not a good time, for
We're getting
our country's
jobs.
economy. You're right. It was bad, and I seem to have missed that memo because um, the '08 market crash just went way over my head with, college and being in a little bubble. I'm good in the dorm rooms, not really bothered, wasn't really affected, but yeah, felt it immediately coming out of college. So, yeah, I was working. I was just working all kinds of jobs just to make ends meet after college, and then at work while working at a particular job, uh, an old classmate came in for lunch, and I was like, "Oh man, this is awkward." Um, I'm kind of
Sure.
ducking in the back of the kitchen because I didn't want to be seen. But no, it was one of the best things that happened to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we got to talking, and he let me know how he was working with a system integration company in the area, and I was telling him I was applying left and right, looking to get my foot in the door, and he
And
eventually
you had
got
an
me.
engineering degree, right? Like, I remember these
Yes,
times. They
yes,
sucked. Yeah.
yes, and
I was
and we
promised an ocean of jobs. God
Yeah.
help me.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
99% placement and all this, like for
yes,
engineers. Yeah.
yes, and it was in 2011. It was just not happening. It was
I
not
hear you.
happening. Not for new hires at least.
Yep. It's true.
Not
It's true.
Yeah, not for new hires at least. So with that said, um, yeah, it was just a conversation. That conversation led to me having lunch with him and his boss one day.
Wow.
And his boss, I'll never forget this, ladies. Like, we're at a restaurant. His boss asked me, Matthew, can you tell me what a PLC is? And I'm like, a what?
A who?
And he looks at my classmate, and he was like, I like this guy. What are you doing for the rest of the day? And I had a job.
Just
And
from not trying to bullshit, it sounds like, which is fantastic. You're just like, I don't know, what is it? Like, and that honesty was enough for him to be like, all right, let's do it. That's funny. That is like an unfortunately like serendipitous story that all of us somehow end up in this industry, and we're trying to make this not the case for everyone anymore, because that's just, I mean, it's awesome that we have all these really cool stories of how we got in, but like it's got to be way more purposefully done, especially with the numbers that we need now.
Right.
right.
It looks like we need Matthew's got to move. He's on the move.
Yeah, I'm
We
on the
are
move.
live on the move.
I like.
Let's see how
dynamic
good your
environment.
internet connection is.
We get
Let's check out
bored.
this router strength.
You know, all the awkward moments you try to avoid, you know, like having to change a room that got double
That is
booked accidentally.
That's real
But hey,
life.
you know, these things happen. These things happen, and the world gets to see it. Sorry about that.
The
Well, good.
Herbalife offices and their strong internet that they have.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
you
so
know,
you
when
haven't dropped out once.
Yeah,
Right.
and this is like after hours for you. Like
yeah, it is. It is. So yeah, ladies, that's how I got my start. It was really crazy. And
what was your
uh,
friend doing for that integrator?
so he was one of the. So first of all, because I have no qualms. This is, I think this year they're the number 9. They landed number 9 on the top. SI
Integrators?
Giants. Yes.
Cool.
So my actual first employer was Wunderlich Malik Engineering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very well
So
known name.
yes, yeah. So they were starting up a location here in Central North Carolina at the time, back in 2012, and my friend, well, no, they actually had an office established, and my former classmate, he was one of the lead engineers for the office. So he was leading a lot of their engineering projects. They were looking to get some, you know, extra help in for some of these projects, and so it was an opportunity for me to really come in and get my exposure to the food and beverage industry, which was one of the biggest customers at that point in time for the office. And so, you know, y'all know certain integrators, they have various businesses, you know,
Mhm.
business units per se. And so food and
Industry
beverage,
units. Yeah.
correct. So the food and beverage was this particular business unit's focus. So it was just immediately, you know, in the office and then straight to, you know, the
So
customer
plant.
side. Yeah, straight to the plant. And you know, start you know, learning day one with the field experience. So the the idea was to just, you know, really learn up under him. And
Your friend?
yeah, friend, former classmate. Yep, yep, absolutely. And it
That's awesome.
was, yeah, and it was good, you know, until it wasn't. So um,
Absolutely.
so yeah, that I got my start, and then from there, you know, my career just, I feel, Ali, I'm not gonna lie to you, I feel like I've had a 25-year career so far in a 12-year span.
I feel that.
uh,
That's
yeah,
widely shared sentiment, I think, amongst our industry.
yes,
And it's our generation too, right? Like as I think millennials, we've been through some stuff. Like I guess every generation's been through different things. And yeah, we've had this like candle under us early in our careers where it's like you get dumped out into the workforce and you're not wanted even though you were told like this is like the hottest, like some of the hottest like major you can have. And so yeah, we start figuring out like what is it that like makes us unique, and start figuring out like what it is it that like these companies are looking for, and just going out there. And like we've changed jobs on average so much more than Gen X and the boomers. And that, you know, because
absolutely.
it used to be like just it used to be good like for everybody to stay together like that, and that's not what was like kind of offered up to us, even though that's what we were told was the way that of the world. That's not what we ended up being presented when we got out and like stumbled into paying our student loans and not being able to get regular jobs. I do remember having the feeling, will I ever get to really be an engineer? And that was a
Yeah.
genuine worry of mine, because I was doing my first job was Wyzant.com. I found so I could tutor people of all ages from, and I have a chemical engineering degree at the time, but like no work experience and like
Right.
very
Yeah.
little or very like not really like relevant internships. They didn't let me into a chemical plant. Like I did stuff that was like related to like
Correct.
analytics
Yeah.
and pumps and stuff, but it was like lab stuff. It wasn't, I got to go out
Correct.
into see anything really, including control
Correct.
systems. And
Correct.
so yeah, like it was bleak for a lot of people, and it sounds like, this is a shared sentiment where we all like got out of school. And if you didn't have an engineering degree, I feel so bad. Because
Oh
you're
man.
you're so much worse off with
So
all the debts.
yeah, so the interesting thing about it is by the way, the classmate's name is Michael Ramey. And this is gonna kind of, maybe this will blow your mind, maybe this won't be surprised, but it's funny how he got me into systems integration and automation when he himself went to school to get the degree. He already had the experience at the time that he and I were in class together. So he was already working for a manufacturer, and
Is
he
he
was trying to climb
older
up.
than
He was
you? Does he have
oh
like?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He's
Oh, that's
definitely
so nice that he did that. Wow.
yeah, yeah. He was trying to he was trying to advance his career at his employer, and his employer was like, well, you have all this experience, which is great,
But we want a degree.
but you need to have this degree. And
Yeah.
so he got the
They're like,
degree.
fine.
He got the degree. He slept through. He just literally slept through the program because he
Which
knew
you can do if you already know how to do
If
it.
you already know what you're doing, yeah, it's just a piece of paper.
correct. And then he got the piece of paper, and he pieced out, and then our paths crossed again. And so yes,
That's so
Ali,
cool.
yeah, Ali, you hit it on the nail. Because there was no visibility of automation at all, for me coming into the industry. I didn't, and I wouldn't just pick, like I used to pick on the big universities like, Georgia Tech, NC State, these huge, West Virginia University, these universities that are very known for their engineering. And um yeah, there was just no visibility to automation. It was kind of the expectation coming out of, and I went to a small school, so literally my engineering school was literally one floor in a school that was really built for construction management, and engineering was kind of the little step brother in the
Afterthought.
back. Yeah, little step brother in the background. Know your place, stay there. And so there wasn't, you hit a lot of good notes, Ali, where there wasn't a lot of visibility. I came out there, I knew I wanted a hands-on career. I definitely knew that. I definitely knew I didn't want to be a pencil pusher. I wanted to be, hands-on in the world, but I had no idea what that would look like, what that was going to look like. So when I got into automation, when I got into systems integration, it's like I'm hitting the ground running, figuring it out in a still volatile economy. And man, systems in. I got such a complicated relationship with my career because it's the best and toughest thing that happened to me. There's so many positives, and there's the reality as
But you don't
well.
want to let it go because it is so challenging.
Well, not only that, it's just, man, it takes you wherever you want to go. That's what my 12-year career, and and so I say 12 years, so it's still very young. And I have gone from system integration to OEM to in-house manufacturing. So
Yeah.
I've already covered 3 of the 4 major um
I hear
uh
you. It's
yeah,
like
like the
quadrants
major
almost of like
quadrants
sections of,
of
yeah,
yeah,
of the
correct. Like
jobs you
You
can
gotta work
work
for the
or the
OEM, you
people.
gotta work for the
Yeah,
distributor and be like the
it's some
see
part of the
applications
chain.
people, you gotta
Yeah.
be the
right.
systems
That's the
integrator.
only
Yeah.
one. That's the only one that's left is working for a distributor. Like I haven't gone into that. So, and then this is now the nutraceutical. So this is now like the seventh, eighth industry
Industry.
that I have exposure to. Um, but I say to say my career is definitely so far has taught me that auto, automation, a career in automation literally can take you wherever you want it to go.
I love
Whatever.
that. Have you?
Question for you, because I'm also a Sparky, and I also looked at somebody in the face who asked me what's a PLC and I had no previous exposure, so I had no idea what a PLC was. But that same night, I was on Google, reading about ladder logic and
Yeah.
function block and everything. And for me, at least, like, you see something that sticks, but, ladder logic for me, like, was pretty easy to grasp pretty quickly because it just resembles a circuit diagram. But did you find yourself basically having that thirst, even in the off hours to be like, what? Well, I did 4 years of college and there's still stuff I don't know. How is this happening?
I was definitely intrigued, Courtney, but I was more like, what did I get myself into? Like I know I asked for this, but did I really want this? But ultimately, just what really got me, ladies, was for me. It's no feeling quite like seeing your work,
Yeah.
like seeing
I call it
your
the glory, which I
the,
try to explain that to people. It's just like, because why should anyone care? It's like, oh, cool, like you program something, like whatever, and like, not. First of all, it is really cool if you're in like a computer programming class and you can make the loop or whatever do what you want. Like that is a really neat experience. But if you can physically make it do it, like, which is the next level, honestly, because now there's like equipment and like there's a lot more that can break between what you
oh yeah,
wrote and the physical world. And when you
oh
make
yeah,
that stuff start happening and then start doing that with like sequences and like blow your own mind, like, yeah, there is this like glory to it that is addicting, and people will never leave that job after they've tasted that. But how do we get people to know that that's even there to go taste, so that like we can draw them? I was going
right.
to ask you about NDAs, because I thought, because you were saying that like you've been in like every industry, so they're like, you can't work with this type of equipment in this type of industry anymore. But like the stuff we know how to do is so incredibly versatile that like
Hmm.
we will never be stuck in any industry. So like an NDA is like, oh, well then I guess for 3 years I'll go work in one of 50 other places, and then I'll come
Right,
back to that if I really like it in like
right,
3 years. So it's like there is no one can control us. We are the last cowboys.
right, right.
And this is the
Yeah,
last frontier.
yeah. I've been blessed to never run into that challenge in my career. Um, I
Okay,
I
so
have, yeah.
but you've been able to cross like several types of industries, and you've seen
Oh yes.
overall everyone uses the same stuff. Maybe there's more paperwork here or there, or people are more relaxed about the way that stuff goes, but like, would you say that like if you learned one industry, that there's some of that that's going to be usable in other places
I think some
from
of the
what you've seen?
yeah, I think the basic principles are pretty much across the board, but like there's definitely specializations. Like I'll pick on wastewater. There's
Okay.
just technology that's specific to that industry in my time in there that I have not seen used since I was working in wastewater. Now, of course, and what I'm talking about is like, the heavy use of, you know,
Filters and
radio
stuff. Oh.
radios, because if
Oh
you think
yeah.
about it, that was my introduction before this was
Ethernet radios.
yes, and this was my introduction to SCADA before I even knew anything about what SCADA was about, so
I think that's
but
just the government was just like, we're gonna buy this, like, because we do it over here too. I've seen them too over here.
yeah, and then there's certain, so like I would say I was exposed to a lot of niche. I never say that word correctly,
Niche,
but
I think, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
like a lot of niche skill sets that you benefit from, like if you just stick in that particular industry, in that particular role, like mission critical, for example, data centers, you get really good, you get really comfortable really quick with control logics. But also, there's a flavor of programming there that you're not going to quite see if you go to like packet, consumer goods, or
Or plant
food and
pack stuff,
beverage.
yeah.
Correct,
Or
correct.
DCS, you're just like totally out of it. Like,
Correct, right. And so yeah, so it's like, so now it's like, in the world of recruiting, now it's like we're all bundled into, well, a controls
into one.
engineers,
They don't
like,
usually know. Yeah.
yeah, your automation, and your, like, the line is like blurred between an automation engineer and a controls engineer.
And
Right.
and they even like expect you, even like if you're a machine controls engineer and so you know how to do robotics, you may not know anything about process controls and like functionals, or process safety and like
Eh,
TUV shit, and they're gonna be like, and they just think you're all one thing.
there
And
you
like
go.
we are made of many
There you
flavors.
go. There you go, Ali. You hit the nail. You hit the nail on the head. And I have experienced that time and time and time again. And time and time again.
They're
So
like,
like,
hey,
right,
you got to
like,
know robots, right? You have automation in your stuff. You're like,
correct.
maybe. What kind of robot to do what? Like palletizing? Sure, that's simple enough.
Correct.
Like
Also,
Correct.
what we
Correct.
refer to as a robot has significantly increased. So, depending
exploded.
on how loose your definition is, it can be called a robot in a lot of
Right,
cases.
right. So our titles as, controls engineers just seem to pre-qualify us for any and everything. Like, yeah, Matthew,
That's true.
I know we hired you here for this, but since you're here, while you're here, I'm
While you're
sure you could
here,
do. Yeah, yeah.
while you're here, what can you tell me about cybersecurity?
So
Can
actually,
you
I
can you
feel like
remember the
IT
time?
suffers that a lot because like IT guys are good at IT stuff, and then it's like, well, but can you fix the printer? The printer is down.
That's just
And
so mean.
yeah, like
ladies,
last I checked, I
ladies.
don't think that falls under IT. But when the printer doesn't work, man, everybody hates the IT guys.
Yeah, and ladies, like we laugh, but this is like my real life, like right now.
Yeah.
This is my real life right
You're like, you
now.
know that networking stuff, right? Like, how come this
Yeah,
doesn't work? You're like, oh my God, that's not what I do.
and
Yeah.
and and I love the opportunity to learn, but like just in my 7 months here, at Herbalife, my backpack of skill sets, if you will, is rapidly expanding.
The Batman
Now,
bag.
right, like now, on top of learning more and more and more about process controls, because that's where I do reside right now within my current function. There is now the element, in addition to that, of, okay, I have to build up a level of expertise in SCADA machine, and from a
Server
standpoint of machine
management.
integration. Well, not so much server management, thank
Okay.
goodness, but machine process machine integration with SCADA, and then cybersecurity in addition to that.
When
So,
I was gonna ask earlier, like at what, because all of us, and you're the same age kind of as us, so like what point in your career did you just finally just get like with cybersecurity, like we've been doing this totally wrong? Or would you say you were healthily taught to do it right up until whenever? But like, because I remember the Black Hat conference where I was like, oh no, which was 2018, and I know that like many years before that, they were talking about this stuff already and being like PLC and disabling, like how do you render a PLC useless, and what is a PID loop, and how do you take a PID loop down? Like that stuff I heard in 2018. Did you like come across that like before that point? Like were you seeing like risk assessments being done and everybody failing them? Like how did What did that look like for you, or can you
Man,
comment?
I I mean, I'm at that point actually like right now.
Oh God, it's all been
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
My God!
Yeah, I'm at that point right now. I mean, prior to that, it just wasn't. It just didn't. It wasn't a. It wasn't a. I don't want to say concern, but just wasn't
It wasn't
a part
everyone's
of.
priority,
Well, right.
and now it
It
has
wasn't
to
even
be
a
because we can
function.
all be fished.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely. So I really wish I was able to, not that I can't, because I still have, I like my approach and my current function is still very much so from that of an SI and an OEM standpoint. But man, I guess what I was really about to say is like I would have loved to still be in a role, so to speak, where I could be actively attacking that from like an OEM, like a true OEM perspective, because like I'm in controls for an OEM, like being the end on the end user side. Now the approach is different. It's just inherently different.
Oh yeah,
um yeah, it's inherently different, and really I just there's really a simple way to address that, which is just simply just segment the networks.
yeah, yeah. VLANs everywhere.
Yeah, and then in my love hate relationship with Rockwell, I will give them their flowers with the 5069 compact logics. Like if anyone asks me, that is my all time favorite PLC right now, for the simple fact that you can segment a the network. You can do it, and I it's the technology that's available that, man, that a lot it just blew my mind how a lot of organizations just are now, they're just now coming to the party, so to speak, that's been there. Like it's been
It's
there.
required now, yeah. Before it was
Yeah,
like, hey, we should look at this. Now it's like, you better look at this. And I think you can tell how hardcore it is because now everyone has cybersecurity insurance and the premiums exploded. And not only
right,
that, they're like saying like there's been an inrush of incidences. Like, oh great, like
right,
so claims are being like made against cybersecurity insurance policies because we're not 100% where we need to be. Like we can have multi-factor authentication on everything,
correct,
but you can't stop that one person who's in there too deep and opens up their crap email. And so there's just, I
right,
mean, yeah.
Well, there's
right,
also been like some high profile, stuff that's gone down recently where it's like it's a little closer to home now. People are seeing it in the news like, dang, I didn't think that would happen to a piece of my equipment. And I still recall some stories I've heard from past lives where pieces of automation equipment that you wouldn't expect to even be able to were mining Bitcoin for some malicious actor in another country. They don't care how much electricity it's using to poorly mine Bitcoin. They're not paying for it. And they're getting Bitcoin at a horribly slow rate somewhere else. And I heard that more than once now. And I'm like, what a
yeah.
horrible
So,
thought to have just
so
So
some
yeah,
camera
so
mining.
now it's like the value is in what you know, because there what I'm noticing currently is a disconnect between um automation, the management of automation, and cybersecurity. From a cybersecurity perspective, I've noticed just this real lockdown mentality, like lockdown, ball and chain, you like, to the point where your asset managers, whether they be guys like myself or maintenance personnel, they can't even they're limited in their ability to actually perform their duties, because it's your ability to access the program to troubleshoot it is so limited. And and the reality is the technology, and a lot of that is due to there being so much legacy automation equipment still in use with a lot of manufacturers. I mean, at this point, if you're not a greenfield operation, if you're a brownfield operation and you're at that point where you are trying to move your overall, you are trying to migrate overall your automation platform, but you still have a lot of the legacy platforms available, then it's almost like you're skipping a step ahead to get to where you really want to be. And that's probably been the over the last 2 years, that's been like a glaring observation to me, just with being now that I'm in, manufacturing, because I've been in and out of many manufacturing operations, as an embedded resource, as a contractor. So when I came to Herbalife, I kind of already saw a lot of what I see day to day. The key difference is, like, I'm in it now day to day. Whereas, okay, I'm tired of working these 14-hour days. I get to go home now.
After the startup, yeah. After
Yes,
commissioning, yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
And that
So,
speaks to the job, right? Because like now we can tell others that like there is a whole life cycle in our job, and you don't have to stay in, one part of the job cycle. Like you can work a while, like, and burn yourself out on like travel, and then you can go into like more design side and like stop traveling so much, and like let the younger people like go back at that stuff, and try to keep this cycle going where it's like, well, now move into this, but there's always something to do. Um, but yeah,
absolutely.
like your circumstances in life change, and you don't want to do the same work super hard or the same way.
Yeah, I no, you hit the nail on the head again, but I will say this, because you kind of like shaved off 10 minutes of my interview and everything you just said. uh,
Say it again.
no, hey man, yeah,
One
no,
more time for those in the back.
right.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. So no, that's exactly right, Alia. It's why I'm in manufacturing right now. I burned out on the travel at an early age, early in my career. Just but at the same time, um, it got me to where I'm at. There's just
I
you,
hear
you
that.
you can't substitute field experience. There's just no substitute for field experience. So,
And I keep
interest.
getting asked that question. They're like, I don't want to work as hard as you did to get where you are. Well, I don't know how you're going to get here. Like, we
Yeah.
don't know the answer. Like, Matthew's right here. He'll tell you the same thing. Like, I don't know. I don't have an answer. Courtney, do you have an answer as to how we get where we are without the insane, like, almost breaking point? Actually, some of us did break and have mental breakdowns. But,
Yeah.
like, just to get to, like, here.
It's going to take twice as long. Like, like
Twice as
you
long.
opened up your interview almost with saying, like, you feel like you've gotten 25 years worth of experience in 12 years. You want to
Yeah, how do you do
go at
that?
a
And it's
slower
through
pace.
suffering.
Yeah, it's through. Yeah, I mean, it comes how it comes. I feel like if you want a slower pace, it's just going to be slower.
I mean, it's a crazy dynamic. Even between, you have controls engineers, but say you have one whose career was in like in manufacturing period, like where their experience in their role goes as far as being in that building, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Um, and then someone like myself who's been all over the country, been to different, been to did a job in Pakistan. That was crazy. Did a job in Pakistan. Have done a
Awesome.
job in Mexico, and but gotten, seen a little bit, but
All the buildings.
had these real experiences, and just the differences that you notice in just the overall knowledge. And it's not to put down, any process controls engineers that have that worked and came up in their careers in the manufacturing setting. That's very important. It's just a different, I'm just highlighting a different experience,
Right.
Skill
when
set,
you
different
have
skill set. Yeah.
different skill sets. So I mean, I say all that to say, I do believe it is, definitely imperative for those who are interested in this field to get that field experience. Um, go out there,
Even
see
if
the
your
world.
intention isn't forever to do it. Yeah.
Right, and that could be hard. That could be hard to determine when you're 20, 23,
Yeah.
22, 24. However, um, I learned that's the perfect time to start figuring out like what you want to do because, like I said earlier, this our field, ladies, like it will take you like you can take it wherever you want it to go.
Yep.
It could take you where wherever you want to map, however you want to map your lifestyle. You want to be a road warrior. This automation's got a job for you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
want to go out there and see the world and not be tied down place to place, or if you want to be a homebody like myself. I mean,
Yeah.
you do have to pay that price. I paid that price. But it's possible because it gets to a point where you get and you get to determine your own ceiling. You kind of get to determine your own path in a sense, how far you want it to go, what direction you want it to go. The opportunities are absolutely going to be there, but the experience is what really opens up the door to the flexibility, or to really get where you want, like to get to a point where you're a business owner, Allie. More power, like all power to you. Like you are a business owner, and um, people can see the younger generation can see, hey, you can work for an integrator. You can work, you can work in corporate and then go and start your own business, or you can work in corporate and position yourself to where now you're being paid more exclusively for your intellectual knowledge, your experience. Then, all right, I got to program this. I got to start this up. I got to start. You get you get to build that. You get to actively build the roadmap that you want. If you know what you're interested in, like if find out what you're interested in, what really
And you can't
find
know that unless you do this like round robin set of jobs. And some of us
right,
like didn't do them on purpose, but like the ones that accidentally did, no one has said, I really wish I hadn't had all that exposure so that I know all this stuff now. Everyone has been very happy. So if you can, if you're early enough in your career, you should try to even if you don't like it, do it
hmm
for a while. A couple
yeah,
years, be like, I'm gonna give this like 3 years, even though this sucks. Maybe you're not good at sales, but you force yourself to do sales for 3 years, and then you go back. You're like, I need to do like engineering, and then you can go back to being safe. But like, you will have grown like yourself, and like it will be incredible that you did that. Even though you're like, I'll never do it again. It's still going to
right,
be extremely positive for all of your career to have known what it's like for those people to do that job, to know what like that background is like, and that goes for all the different jobs that we can do, because they can
correct,
put you in a little place where you're just a programmer, and or you just do software and you never do field stuff, and that's not
right,
good, because when you get out there you're like, I don't know, and
correct,
like you can't read the drawings, or you don't know where that stuff came from, and so
right. And there's nothing new under the sun, Allie. I mean, that's how my career progressed. I wanted to get to a point where I could do design work. And where I started in my career was, kind of being the Santa's little helper on the project team. I was the guy that worked under the senior programmer or the lead programmer, went out there and, did the IO checkouts and did all the low hanging fruit parts of, the overall startup. And to your point, for me at first, like I was like, man, this sucks. Like, little did I know at that time, having that INC knowledge, having that
Right.
instrumentation was a firm foundation. And then I was able to work my way up to the next step of, okay, now I'm getting more on the programming and the development side. And then, okay, now I'm at a point where at an OEM. Now I'm doing the full project's life cycle myself. I'm going from the functional description and being handed the P&ID to I'm walking away from a startup of a whole rendering plant that I did, and I'm the programmer. It's my name on it, and it builds up. So, you know, getting through kind of the sort of instant gratification mindset that I think is definitely prevalent right now more
TikTok.
than it right. Man, like yeah, it's just that's just not going to work at the end of the day. You know, get the real world experience, learn, you know, like have those have those moments where, you know,
That suck.
you
You
get to
wish the earth would just swallow you. Yeah.
Uncomfortable.
yeah, you get to that
Discomfort
yeah, you
equals
get to
growth.
you get to that startup and the customer just changes the whole scope on you when you showed up, and everything that can go wrong goes wrong, and you learn from it, and you
Yeah,
become,
you
you
can't
know,
just drag up at that point. Like you have to, unless you're done, unless you're quitting, you just have to sit there and be like, okay, time to. I call it eat a shit sandwich.
right. And those moments build you up to where, you know, for my career, you know, I'm in a very influential position right now where, you know, I can help, you know, the company, you know, really move forward in the direction that it wants to go, you know, from the automation side. So it's great. It all leads up to a positive result at the end of the day. Now, I mean, and I think you said it perfectly earlier, Ali. You know, you don't have to have it all figured out early in your career. You don't. You're not going to. It's just not going to happen. But, you know, I do know, like I stated earlier in the interview, you know, like I had a passion for being hands-on, passion for problem solving, which is why I like. It's what I love the most about project management. Um, and so, yeah, holding on, finding that passion and holding on to it and leveraging it to get to, you know, where you want to be in your career, whatever that may look like, is like one of the huge best things about being an automation professional, apart from, hey, let's be honest, this is a bulletproof career. I mean, this is a bulletproof. Like, that's the other huge positive. I can't speak enough about being an automation. It feels bulletproof, and when I say that, it's like
It's not going anywhere.
it's not going anywhere. I've made it through the pandemic, employed. Matter of fact, I earned, you know, I changed jobs and grew my career through the pandemic. And,
And
you
some
know,
people might say though that like, you know, oh maybe that's just your experience. Like, what about other people's experiences where they're having negative? To that, I want to say, because that's like playing devil's advocate. I want to say to make to both points are true, and that if you get yourself in a place where you literally can't go anywhere else, get another job, because there's another place where you can just like skyrocket your career. So when he says that like it's bulletproof, he means that like you can always just go to somewhere else where there is like motion for your career, even if you are ever stuck. And you may see that you may go to a
yeah,
company where there is no more for you. Maybe there's too many people ahead of you in, you know, kind of in line tenure wise.
yeah,
Like there may be,
yeah,
or you,
yeah.
or personalities that you just don't like those people, or you don't really like, you know, you don't feel cohesive with the team, whatever. Like there's going to be all
Yeah,
kinds of places where you don't feel amazing, but you can just go somewhere else. And there's so many jobs. So that's what he means by like bulletproof, is like there is no shortage of places for you to just go figure something else out if you don't really like what's going on, or if you feel like you're just done learning, which that's a thing too. There's personality types that are just like, I can't do this anymore. I've
yeah,
mastered it and this is boring and I need something else. And what
yeah,
I will say is that you should, if you have a what is it, positive enough culture, like not toxic culture, go back and give that information to your boss and say, hey, I'm getting ants in my pants because this is too boring for me now. And I would like for you to help me get into like less boring stuff, because otherwise I'm going to go find a cool adventure without
Right.
you.
yeah. And that's spot on again, Ali. That is spot on. Yes. And that's definitely what I mean, in terms of bulletproof, in addition to, you know, being harassed with recruitment messages, you know, on a daily basis because there's
Yeah.
not enough of us. So
Forever for
there's
your whole career. As soon as you put your name in a system, unless you change your phone number and email, like you will get emails years later from the same like system because they're like, we see that you're a controls engineer in this system. They don't bother actually
right,
looking you up or anything or know what kind of controls engineer you are. But like, yeah, that is definitely part of this is, I mean, unless you're going to have like a really good filter, just get used to it. Like you're going to have
right, right,
recruiters forever. That sounds
right.
arrogant, but like it's kind of cool that like we do get these like job offers every week for the rest of
Every
our
week,
lives.
every week, yeah. But it's a reality. It's a reality because this is only the demand of this is only going up.
Right.
It's
That's true.
only going up, and I've personally seen and a lot of automation professionals retire out, and so it makes sense. Again, it's all about what you want to. It's all about what you want to do individually. How you want to. I would say a part of it is definitely lifestyle. Like I said, this career can be very accommodating if you can learn how to navigate it and leverage it to get you to where you want to be, because everything that you're saying, Ali, is absolutely true. I mean, I've done it myself. I I tell people, I've told people I go after opportunities now. I chase opportunities. Um, where it's very easy at the beginning to jump into this for the money aspect. I mean, I definitely chose engineering because I thought, man, like I'm gonna make a lot of money. This is gonna be this is gonna give me a great lifestyle. No idea of the work and type of work that would go along with it. But now that I'm matured, I'm like, man, the opportunities. I get
Right.
to like, I went from having a ceiling put on me to determining my own ceiling,
Right.
and I, for
It's
me
freedom.
personally, right, that's exactly it. Like there's just money, there's no amount of money that can buy that to be able to make a decision like, you know what, I can be good where I'm at right now for another 1 or 2 years, but I know that I'm not going to grow positionally or organizational within the organization here, and that's not what I want. So let me see what other opportunities are out there, and then bam, you know, to get to that point is very, it's a very good feeling.
And
It's a
everyone can
very good
have
feeling.
that if you stick it out, but you do have to stick it out.
You do have to,
Right.
absolutely, you have to stick it out. You have to go
It's not
through.
available year one. Like, oh, here you go. Well, here's all the good stuff.
Right, and yeah, right. Because the reality is, we all at the end of the day, the majority of us, the 98% of us, are gonna learn what we know on the job through these experiences.
Mhm.
Not
Nope.
necessarily through a mentor. I mean, we know we know universities aren't teaching us the knowledge that we know. They're not teaching, the PLC programming. They're not teaching integration. They're not doing any of this. We're either going, and a lot of companies, are investing in to a small degree. They're investing in that. So these experiences become very valuable, and they can be leveraged to get you to where you want to go. So, and that's and that's what I've definitely done in my career. I'm where I'm at right now because it's positioning me for where I want to go in my career. I've gotten to a place where the work life balance is where I need it. It's no fun getting burned out on travel when you're starting a family, ladies. It's just not. It's not ideal at all. But
It's like
um,
increase the friction in your marriage.
absolutely. But the experience that came along with it set the stage for you know. Because I mean, to me, this is kind of like the big leagues of I'm in the big. I tell people since coming to
It is.
Herbalife, like I'm in the big leagues of manufacturing. Um, there's this, there's P&G, there's the big names out there. So um, it all works out. It all works out. But you said it. You said the key thing, Ali. You got to stick with it. Just got to stick with it.
The day you plant the seed is not the day you harvest the fruit.
Correct.
Yeah, it's a
And then
long
just
game.
It's a
yeah,
long
and just
game.
some of the experiences that that come along in the journey. Like I never thought my career, like I mentioned earlier, I never thought my career would take me to the other side of the world. Never, never, um, never thought it would take me to the places that I've been, to see different parts of the world and see different parts of the country and get those types of and get paid to actually have those. And I mean, yeah, the hours, suck. It does suck working the 12, 14s, but just to be able to there is a positive in it. There's
Oh yeah.
definitely a positive to it. It's all about an overall mindset and a willingness to stick through it. So, and it's brought the networking that comes along with it is insane.
Yeah.
Every location has another group of people that have an entire set of stories and set of problems and set of things that they've done to like fix things and just like little innovations, and that those are like micro, like, you know, experiences, and then you're just having these like all over the country or in other places in the world, and so that just like, yeah, blows up your brain in another level, because like you were saying before, that project management is like about solving problems, but it's so much
Right.
harder than solving technical problems, because now you have people that are pissed. So like you have a human
Absolutely.
aspect and the like the money business aspect and the people like crying, and then like the actual broken machinery, and you're just like, ah, and like now you're solving like crazy problems, like
Yes,
three-dimensional problems.
yes. I tell people the best way to describe my current role is definitely I'm an automation project manager. I would just say that in a sense. And um
Professional cat herder.
yes, like it's one thing to
Automation
have
cats.
yeah, it's one thing to have like external customers like you have, Ali, but to have external and internal customers where every project that I do right now is so interdisciplinary. I'm working with at least five other business groups within my organization: purchasing, um, safety, um,
Production,
CI, production,
capital
CI,
project, or
yeah,
sales.
sales. Yes, like it's so many, and so you're coming into professional cattle herder. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to use that one. That's definitely that's definitely what it is. But it's where, but again, it aligns with where the path I want to go. The path I want to go. So these are now I'm just continuing to pick up new experiences, new experience that's going to build me up to where I want to go. But to get that, I had to get to where I'm at right now. And
So where are you going? Do you think you will be like a plant manager someday, or like what are you
oh,
thinking about? Either
so
that or go out and get your own business, because all of that's hard.
like I said, more power to you, Ali. I
What?
don't know. I don't know if I could ever get to that point of running my own business.
Well,
But
the
to answer your
American dream is just to be able to try, like
correct, correct.
without any guarantee, just be like, oh God, that was horrible. And even if you make money, it might be horrible anyway. So like,
Yeah, 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 and that's why I have so much respect. You went out there and tried. I kind of know where I stand. But to answer your question, I so there's two paths I could take. There's the engineering leadership roles, your manager, your director, etc. And then there's your technical leadership roles, your staff engineering roles. Either way, where I want to go is a leadership position where I have high impact. Not just in the overall business decisions, but when we talk about bringing up the next
other people.
generation of engineers,
Awesome.
Right.
um, that I want to have I'm working my way towards an impact role. Right now,
Awesome.
I could say I would like if this was 2 months ago, I would say definitely engineering leadership track, but we actually have a staff engineer on our team. a staff equipment engineer, and just talking and learning from him, and then doing my own research about the engineering versus technical leadership paths and how interchangeable they can be. It's definitely given me something to think about right now at that point where I'm at a senior level position, so that's great. And that could be a great ceiling for me, but my brain like ticks weird, kind of weird, and I kind of want more than that. And
Oh,
then
good.
I kind of like dealing with people, even though people were like
Plant
the most
manager.
difficult part of the job. Um, but no, but I do want to stay. See now, plant manager, see Ali, that would take me out of my lane of automation, and I
Like
don't want
kind
to
of.
do.
Yeah, that's true. What if it was a really small plant that was like really like automated?
So I was kind of already in that role without being
Okay.
formally in that role, in my last opportunity where I was pretty much like not only was I the controls engineer for the plant, but I was the project manager for the plant. So
Um,
all the
Wow.
capital projects for the plant, I actually,
Dealt with
oversaw.
so mechanical and everything else. Nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did everything but, deal with the day-to-day financials and are we hitting our numbers? There was an actual plant manager in place to handle that, and I was very thankful for that. I was very thankful for that. So could I do it? I believe I could, but my passion is definitely more so being like a director of engineering, you know, engineering manager, you know, or a staff. I definitely I can see myself being a staff engineer because those types of responsibilities keep me within. Well, let me say this. I'm always interested in being in the real life cycle of an engineering project. And when we get to the point where, helping an organization to map that path forward of where it wants to go within automation is what I'm really passionate about. And then impacting, having that level of impact and then helping others grow in their positions as well. Like I'm not the only senior controls engineer, um, but I'm at the largest manufacturing facility for Herbalife, globally, globally, like 80,
Nice.
at least 80% of Herbalife's manufactured products is coming out of my facility right here.
Cool.
And so myself and my counterpart, um, we have the opportunity to help take the company in the direction in terms of automation that it wants to go. And for me, that's a very impactful opportunity that I just it's just too hard for me to pass up on.
Right on. Well,
Right.
that's
So
amazing.
so y- so having moved around, to land the plane, having moved around in my career, I personally reached a place where, okay, I'm ready to stake my flag and, really work and build up a legacy because you said it earlier, you said it at the beginning, yes, it's there used to be those days where you could just get that engineering job and be there as long as you want.
And
Um,
they give you a watch at the end with like a pension and like all that other stuff.
Right, and those days are gone. But I think for me, you know, being able to build a legacy and not walk away from it prematurely,
Right.
like a legacy within your career, and stick with that to actually see it come to a reasonable degree of fruition, because we understand things happen in life, layoffs happen, situations happen. So I can't, there's no fortune, cook, there's no,
It's just time. The
you
more
know
people's lives that you touch,
Right.
like that's
right,
what it's
but
for me.
there is does get to a point where, you know it's like I had a job, like my OEM job. I got to I got to take what was done, improve on it, create a standard that is still being used today.
Nice. Okay.
And so I see that same thing for myself, at this point in my career where, okay, there's been a change of guard in, engineering and the controls leadership, the autonomy that I didn't have 6 months ago, I have now. So there's an opportunity in front of me to really take that in a positive way and run with it. So to be able to stick around and be around to see that through and see, and be in a position as close as I could of my former, automation director who, in terms of automation, built the plant. Like I could sit there and say, I did that. I did that. That's me. That's my legacy, like living it out. Now I could pass that torch on. For me, that's that. Yeah, I made it.
That's awesome. The glory.
Yeah,
I love that.
The glory.
the glory, the
It's
glory.
it's the automation, like, the automation glory. If you stick with it, like, you can have this, you can have it all.
You get
Almost.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
it
can
all.
almost. Yeah, you can have it, but it's gratifying. There's no other feeling like that. It just validates the sacrifices, the long hours, the hard work, the headaches, the people that ticked you off, the headaches.
Well, because there's so
The
much
additional
doubt
headaches.
to get
Yeah.
to that point. You don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And so you spent all this time being like, will I make it? Can I make it? Is this even possible? And so, yeah, when you get there, you're like, there is no way to, like, describe what it feels like after all of that self-doubt to realize that you're wrong and you can.
I have
Right.
arrived.
I
Yeah,
have arrived.
you can arrive. Like,
I have
which
arrived.
apparently we are starting to arrive in our 30s, apparently. Some of us arrived in our 20s.
See,
I didn't do that.
I've got a few months left of my 30s to arrive there. Give me an extension,
Everyone,
please.
by the way, arrive at your own time. There's no rush at arriving.
There is
But
no
yeah, like,
rush at arriving.
there
Yeah.
is a time that, when you're a young engineer, that you're lacking that confidence that you're going to get after you've gone out there and just, like, seen enough issues and been yelled at by enough people, and seen that, like, nobody died, like, nobody got fired, it was
Right.
sucked. And
Right.
you see that enough times, and you see successes too, and you figure things out, and then you finally get, like, I don't know how many years that is. It probably depends on the engineer and how bad
Correct.
they were thrown into the fire, but, like, eventually
Right.
you do come out with all of your burn marks and everything, and you're like, I'm okay. And then you approach all of the new problems in front of you totally different, because you know that you can
Absolutely.
come out of that no matter what. At some point,
Absolutely.
that clicks on us, in us.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
don't know when that is, but, like, yeah, wait for that moment and don't give up until you get to that point, because you will get there, but it takes a while. And how can you be confident until you've consistently seen what's going to happen, predicted it correctly, and then been able to, like, either respond or do whatever you're supposed to do and not totally blow it up, including blow it up, like, physically, but also, like, blow it up socially. You could mess
Right.
it up, and, like, now you're fired, or somebody else is mad at you and they're never going to help you in your job, and they're,
Right.
like, a critical part of your job. So, like, there's so many ways that you can just, like, blow this up. But yeah,
Right.
eventually, like, do your best, like, do as much communication as you can, because siloed, you're never going to make it by yourself. You do
Right.
need other people's help, so start talking. And if this
Yes.
is a place where you talk and, like, nobody wants to listen to you and they all say you're crazy, maybe you need to be in another place. Or you
Absolutely.
need to, like, figure out how you're going to talk to these people if you're a different kind of personality or whatever.
Right. 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 The intricacies of it. I mean, everything's spot on. It's navigating this is a beautiful and challenging thing. For me,
Just be
just
yourself,
being
genuine.
being able to take my experiences right now and help help my engineering team be better as a result of it is the most gratifying part of my job right now.
Awesome. So, to wrap this up, like, where can people come talk to you if they want to, ask you a question about life, or, like, career advice, or, one time actually we had someone on here was like, do not contact me, which is an
Nah,
option
yeah,
too.
yeah, no, yeah. I'm absolutely on LinkedIn. I'm most active on LinkedIn right now. So yes, I'm definitely open to getting in contact, especially like especially if you're a young engineer or relatively young,
Yeah.
like I say, 0 to 5 years in your career, definitely feel free to reach me out. Like say, hey, I tuned in or I heard about your interview. Would love to pick your brain about this, that, and the third. I'm just gonna give you
Nice.
perspective. I'm gonna give you perspective, and I'm gonna give you um, experience, and I'm more than open to networking. So definitely can find me on LinkedIn. Um, and
Are you gonna go
uh,
to any shows?
I want to. I'm working on that.
Okay.
I'm working on
Eventually, we'll
that.
come meet you at shows. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely want to
Work
come
on
to the next.
IMTS.
Yeah, I definitely want
Yeah.
to come to the next. I definitely want to go to Automate for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Next
Um,
year. Okay.
yeah, and probably the Rockwell Fair. Um,
Okay. That's in
yeah,
November in Anaheim.
in Anaheim. Yep. So I do plan on, because that's our automation platform. Like
Your
that's our
standard.
global stand. That's our global standard. So it just makes sense.
Yep.
Um, so definitely want to leverage that opportunity through my company, through my management, and yeah, definitely want to get out to some trade shows, whether it's through the company or even on my own dime, because this is how this is how I learn. This is how I stay on top of the happenings in our industry that is going to benefit my company as
Any
well as
company
my
you go
time.
to. Yep.
Any company I go to, absolutely, absolutely. So yes, ladies, like I plan to be out there, plan to continue to be active on LinkedIn. So definitely for anybody listening, spreading the word, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to talk. And again, I applaud you ladies for the platform that you've developed. I think
Thank
what y'all
you.
are doing is very, very much so needed, very impactful. I'm excited. Ali and Courtney, y'all are doing awesome things in the automation field. So I just can't applaud y'all enough. Um,
Thank you.
I'm a
Yeah,
huge fan, and so
appreciated.
it's been an honor to share this hour with y'all.
Thank
And
you
just
for
before I
sharing it with me.
close, I was gonna. Miriam's reminding me to talk about OT Skatacon. So we do have this event in July in Houston, July 25th and 26th. It's a 2-day class that I don't know. There's now 20 speakers, and so they're
Yeah,
from all facets of automation or industrial automation, different industries, different
Legit conference.
strengths. Yeah, like Courtney is talking about robotics. I'm going to talk about process stuff. Alicia Lomas just came on and she's going to talk about process safety. So but there's a machine side of it, machine vision, machine safety,
hmm
robotics, and then servers and historians and Industry 4.0 and Wireshark and industrial networking and cybersecurity and I could go
All
on
of
and
it.
on and on. But yeah, there's an event we're gonna have and it's it's gonna be our networking, not networking. It's like SCADA and networking party because it's definitely not just about learning. It's also about this community that we have that is actually a really everyone helps each other in this community. So you can ask a technical question and someone's going to help you for free. And then it just keeps feeding this system. And so we just keep, I don't paying it forward, if you want to call it, where,
absolutely.
you give a little bit and somebody else gives a little bit and maybe not the same people gave to you, but you're going to get back from this group once you start putting into the group
Right.
your tricks and your things that you've learned and just helping people with something small because something that you may have done 1,000 times could help someone's day greatly. They might be struggling really hard on something that is not going to take them that much or someone else a lot of effort to explain to them and that just goes a huge long way in just karma and general good faith in our community. So if you see people looking for something simple, if you have some time and different people don't have time, but if you do have time, see what happens because you might create a connection that later turns into work that you didn't know. And so you don't
Right.
really know what this stuff does. It's just good to just put into the world whatever you want back out of it. That was a
Absolutely.
really long-winded close. And I don't even know if I know how to close this by turning it off. So do we even have a button for that or do we have to call Nikki to turn this off?
I think
I don't
If we
actually
all
know the
just
answer
leave
to
the
that.
studio, it should